Hello and welcome to the Next 100 Days podcast. My name is Graham Arrowsmith.
And my name's Kevin Appleby. So today, Graham, we've got a very interesting gentleman who was part of your summit way back. Remember when we were talking about that on the podcast? So we're going to
talk... believe it or not, it's only a few months ago, but basically we've got James Mathewson, who is going to tell us some really interesting things about a character set called Pets Rock. It's an investment opportunity. I just think it's absolutely fascinating. But James, there's a lot more to you than just Pets Rock, and we'll perhaps get into a range of the things that you get involved in. But James, welcome to the Next 100 Days podcast.
Thank you very much, Graham. It's a pleasure as always to be with you.
Well, first of all, you live in Jersey, don't you?
I do. A little island off the coast of France, about 20 miles south of France. If you were to jump on a quick rib, you could be in Saint Malo in about 20 minutes.
The bit that I don't understand is why don't all those the sort of refugees, immigrants, whatever you want to call them, turn up at Jersey? I mean, you probably have a sufficient number of guns pointed at the sea there from the war.
I think it's probably because we're quite well fortified, and I think the Coast Guard here is particularly vigilant when it comes to unexpected vessels coming into our waters.
probably best.
And they're so small, everybody knows everybody else by their first name. So
well, that's true.
Do you know what, Kevin? The ironic thing is that I think in the 4 years that I've lived and worked in Jersey, I now know more people here than people who have lived here all their lives know. Jersey is 110,000 people. It's a 9x5 island, so it's 45 miles square, but it's a financial powerhouse. We have a huge a level of wealth in the island because Jersey has a very attractive tax regime. There's no corporation tax unless you're a financial services business. So part of my job here is aside from what I do on Superlux and Pets Rock, I'm also an ambassador for Jersey and Digital Jersey. So I promote Jersey to the world as a great place to work and do business in the digital economy. So I try to attract people in the digital world to Jersey, businesses to Jersey, because we have the best broadband in the world. We have great digital infrastructure, and we have a government that's actually very supportive of developing a digital economy. So
I didn't realise, James, that there were so many people living on Jersey. I mean, 110,000, that's quite a number, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not quite double the size of Guernsey, but we're not far off. Guernsey's about 65,000.
Well, one of our friends who's actually appeared, Kevin, you might remember, Veronica Nishtik, who basically worked for me for a little while. Veronica has got a job out in Bermuda, and Dawn and I have decided to go out and see her next year. Now we were checking out. Well, I know, but we're gonna have to save up between now and then to go there, though, James. You know how it is. Really looking forward to that trip. But basically, apparently, there's only 60,000 people on there. So Bermuda is what, about half the size of Jersey?
Yeah, something like that. That Jersey has, because it's 110,000 people in 45 miles square. It actually feels quite spacious as well. So, around where I live, in the parish I'm in, we have 12 parishes on the island. So we don't have counties. We're not big enough to have that kind of structure, but we have parishes. And the parish I live in, my property is pretty much surrounded by farmland. So, but I'm only about a 4 or 5 minute drive into town. So it feels very rural in some respects, but at the same time, it feels very cosmopolitan because we have everything that anywhere else that's in the sort of the Western world would have.
I know what, having worked with Kevin now for 8 years, he's planning already to move from Northumberland to Jersey, aren't you, Kevin?
It's funny, Graham. Jersey is one of those places that's always been on the list to go to for a holiday, and we've never actually managed to get there. So,
Kevin, you have a new local friend. You can come and pay me a visit, and I'll show you around.
I will take you up on that, James.
Well, the thing is, James is such an affable chap. One of the reasons that I guess you got involved with Pets Rock was mainly because of that, your connections and just your natural. I don't know, friendliness and ability to promote things. Tell us what Pets Rock is.
So Pets Rock is a collection of 82 iconic characters from music, movies, sport, politics, royalty, even religion, parodied as cats, dogs, and guinea pigs. So you have to use your visualization skills here. But if you could imagine an iconic pop star, and there are many in our collection, dressed as that iconic pop star, but parodied as a dog or a cat. That's what Pets Rock is. And Pets Rock is a collection that has been around since 2008. So it's not new, but it's worked very much in the commercial licensing space traditionally. So it's been a brand that has appeared on baseball caps and T-shirts and notepads, and it's had collaborations with Harrods, HSBC, and Starbucks, to name but a few. And what I've done is I have worked with the artists, the artistic duo, Mark and Kate Pollybank, who own Pets Rock as a collection, to turn it into a art and NFT proposition. So the way I see the art world moving, and I go against the grain a little bit in this respect in the purist art community, but I see that art, like every other industry, is moving more towards digital. And what I've done is I've licensed the collection from Mark and Kate, and I've turned it into an NFT collection that we sell to collectors. These tend to be very mature, grown up individuals. They're not looking for NFT profile pictures. They're looking for investments. They're looking for growth. They're looking at what I call a passion investment category. So they might have vintage cars, Rolex watches, wine and champagnes, or rare spirits in their collections, but art is another part of that collector framework. And Pets Rock is both iconic because it celebrates all things celebrity, but it's also accessible and feels very normal because it's about pets and people love their pets. So we've taken Pets Rock and made it into an art product and made it into a digital art product. So it's physical and digital.
So, James, an NFT.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what an NFT is.
So the acronym stands for non-fungible token. It's essentially the digitalization of an asset. And that means it can be kind of anything, where we've seen a lot of work in the NFT community has been not just in the art category, but also in things like luxury watches. In Nike, for example, Gucci have just launched an NFT and metaverse platform. What it essentially means, Kevin, is that unlike a traditional art transaction, which would be person to person, often very private, and not terribly secure, NFTs bring a level of security because they sit on what's called the blockchain. There is a smart contract which is part of that NFT, and it creates a lot of provenance in the asset. It creates a lot of security for the owner of the asset, and it also creates what I think is a very interesting dynamic to the art world. It creates potentially an income stream for the owner of that asset. So not only are you investing in a piece of art that you hope will grow in value over time, but you're also potentially getting a revenue stream from it through the model I've created using blockchain and crypto technology. So it's the digitalization of an asset. It is the simplest way to think of it.
So you're taking these characters, these Pets Rock characters, and on the Pets Rock site, which is probably not your site, but basically pets-rock.com, you can actually see the range of characters there. And
yes, you can.
As opposed to calling some of them I can immediately recognize, but there's one that's called Brain, Kevin. It's sort of in a different light. I'd be looking at this and be thinking, Kevin Appleby, I don't know what's going on here, but it's actually it's. I'm not sure if it is actually you, Kevin. It has got similar color hair, but it's reminiscent of a very, very dog-like Einstein. Is that right?
Well, I can't say that it's Einstein.
Yeah.
Because what one of the things that's very interesting about Pets Rock as a collection, of course, is that we are parodying our iconic personalities.
Reminiscent of, but not necessarily based on.
Right, and the interpretation is in the eye of the beholder. So
yeah,
whilst they are instantly recognizable as those personalities, I for reasons of IP protection would not always refer to them as that particular character by name.
There's one that's a rather old lady that's I suspect she's no longer with us, but basically under her character is HRH.
Yes.
I mean, these are just unbelievable likenesses, given that they're animals that are made to look like a particular, either a dead or a living person, and it's quite amazing that you've got these things to. Or the the original characters were made to look like this. I mean, they are quite fascinating.
Yes, and part of Mark's skill as an artist is being able to marry that animal likeness to that personality and that character. Each Pets Rock takes about 40 hours of his time to create, and they're all hand drawn. They're digitally hand drawn. And they're incredibly high resolution, which means that if you were to look at the Pets Rock NFT on a digital screen and you were able to zoom in on that screen, you could see reflections in the buttons on the jacket of the character. Wow. It's that level of granularity in the detail. So each character is very, very carefully crafted and created by the artist because, as you rightly say, it kind of has to look like the person.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, it's fun and it's done in fun. And as you say, there are all kinds of characters. 82 characters. Now, you've taken those characters that Mark and partner have created and made them into these NFTs. Of the 82, if from memory, you're actually selling access to that particular NFT or representation of that thing for a certain price. Tell us a bit more about the commercials.
Yeah, so we're selling 80 out of the 82. We've held 2 back because we felt they were slightly politically sensitive currently. Right. So we've held 2 back. So we're selling 80 of the collection. We've sold 15. And the way that they are presented is that they are presented as what we call a phygital offering, which is a blend of 2 words, physical and digital, to create phygital. Because when a client, a collector, investor, or just a fan of that character buys that character, they're buying a one of one. It's unique. They're buying an NFT and they're buying a physical, what we call trial proof, and that is A1 in size. It's quite a large piece of physical art, which is signed and certified by the artist. They're getting a copy of the full Pets Rock coffee table book, which is beautifully produced in Italy by News. They are also part of the smart contract of the NFT says that they will have access to the artists to meet them and greet with them in London, probably sometime in the 2024 period. And there's other utility built into the smart contract that gives that owner of that NFT certain privileges that you wouldn't get with normal art. So we've sold 15, Graham. They currently sell at £10,000 each. We have a pricing architecture that, like a lot of things, is based on scarcity. So price increases as we sell through the collection. On the NFT side, we're selling them in drops of 5, and they are sold on an NFT platform called Nina Token Place.
Right.
And when we sell those 5, we'll release another drop of 5, and those will be higher in price. And then the next 5 will be higher in price again.
I just want to know whether or not the character that looks a bit like 45 and possibly 47 is still available.
I don't know. You're being a bit cryptic. Hang on.
I was trying not to say Donald Trump, but I mean, basically, it's something that looks a little bit like Donald Trump.
I hope that's a guinea pig.
I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
We call him Mr. Orange.
Yeah.
And he is indeed sold.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
There you are. But there's others that could be described as Ziggy Stardust and other. I mean, there's just a range of them. I mean, they are absolutely fascinating, and I'll do my best to actually represent as many as I can with your permission.
James,
on the website.
If I came in and bought one of these NFTs,
yes,
what do I actually do with it? I get all the add-ons of the book and the meeting the artists and so on, but what can I actually do with the NFT?
Well, the NFT itself would sit in your crypto wallet, Kevin. So whatever crypto wallet you use, whether you use a MetaMask wallet or you use you have two kinds of wallets, and I don't know how much you guys know about this market, but you have what's called a hot wallet, or you have a cold wallet. And a hot wallet is a digital wallet that could sit on your phone or your iPad, and you store your NFT in that hot wallet, and that's something you can show to your friends and family at dinner parties or at gatherings, and say, look, I've got the only NFT of this character from Pets Rock in the world, and that's mine, and that will accrue in value over time. Or you can store it in what's called a cold wallet, which is something like a ledger, which is a USB device that carries NFTs and cryptocurrencies on it. Lots of people wear them as chains around their necks, so they're always with them and always secure, because that's valuable. Very, very secure. But that again stays in your wallet, and that is yours for as long as you wish to retain the asset. And like any other asset class, the clients that are buying from me, and one of my clients bought quite a lot of them. He bought 10 out of the 15 I've sold. He bought them because he sees the strategy I've built. He sees how I'm going to grow value in the brand. He sees the investment he's made as a good investment that will give him a good return in the next 3 to 5 years. It's less for him about putting the art on his wall and enjoying it as any other art you would enjoy visually. For him, he's looking at it as an investment, because he understands my strategy, and he understands that whilst we have been with crypto in a bit of a bear market, and there's been a lot of negativity lately around NFTs, he understands that the cycle is changing. We're moving more towards a bull market again in crypto, and NFTs like Web3, like Metaverse and blockchain are here to stay, and they're only going to gain momentum in the way that we've seen historically with other digital or digitalized products and services.
Can your experience be? I mean, over time you'll sell out of the 80,
yeah,
or whatever it is, 65 or so that's left. I mean, basically, you will sell them out.
Yes.
But eventually, either the artist produces more, or you say to yourself, I've created this thing, which is an NFT space for fine art. Are you already, in your head at least, there?
Yeah. So the second phase, thank you, Graham, this beautifully presents the next part of the story. The second phase is to create a limited edition print only range of Pets Rock. Right. So those would be limited editions. Those would be, again, limited to probably 100 per character worldwide.
Right.
And those would come as, again, signed and certified, 1 of 100 by the artist, or 2 of 100, 3 of 100 of each character. Right. Enabling somebody like we've done for other clients to simply frame the art and put it on their wall and enjoy it as a piece of art in their home or their office. Then there's a third phase, Graham, which takes us into what I call the NFT only space, right, where we will create 100 variants of each character as NFTs. So a character might, each one of the 100 might have a different color jacket, a different cap, a different pair of jeans, a different, pair of glasses.
Right.
And those will be sold at very low price points, but that will create quite an interesting trading dynamic within the NFT community.
Right.
And we're linking that to a recent acquisition we've made of what we call a meme coin, which is a cryptocurrency called XR Doge, which we already have 20,000 coin holders in our community. So that gives me 20,000 potential customers to buy the NFTs. So the idea is, Graham, that we've got a phygital offering at the moment of the 80.
Yeah.
We then develop and deliver the print-only limited edition collection. And then we have the lower cost NFTs that will be traded in an open NFT trading marketplace. And all of those are designed to build then value in the Pets Rock art brand, which is where my ultimate original investors who buy the 80 see the growth in value of their investment. But also when we sell limited edition prints, or we sell NFTs of their character, it's written into the smart contract that they get a share of that revenue.
Right.
So that not only are they buying a piece of art that hopefully goes up in value, but they're getting an income stream from their art as well.
I mean,
now that makes sense, James. I mean, I'm trying to get my head around this and thinking, in the next 100 days, if I wanted to start putting NFTs into a portfolio, how does this work? And I'm completely new to this. I know you've been Graham for a little while about this, but I'm coming to this completely new.
Yeah.
I must admit, the first question came to me that said, hang on, if I buy one of the 80 and then, hang on, phase 3, you've put 100 of this unique one-off character I paid you a lot of money for onto the market at lower prices. Hang on a minute. Well, surely the one original I bought that was supposed to be unique isn't unique anymore, so it's got no value.
Right. So the 100 of your character, Kevin, that you own are all unique in their own right, but also they're linked to your original character. So you get a revenue share of every single time those are traded.
Yeah.
And that one NFT could be traded 10 times or 20 times or 5 times, but every time it trades, whatever the price it trades at, there is a percentage written into the smart contract that comes back to you as the original owner of the original NFT.
Right. Yeah.
So the thing that I was going to ask was that if I'm now looking at the characters, I think you said, James, that maybe there's one here that's sort of breakfast at Tiffany's, and if you do your research, then you'll figure out who the artist is.
Yes.
But
she is wearing a black dress.
Yes, she is.
Are you suggesting that character might have a red dress or a miniskirt or something, some other sort of characterization, which the original artist presumably has created for you?
Well, actually, Graham, so there's 2 parts to that. And the first part, yes, you're absolutely right. We will create 100 variants,
right,
or variations of that original NFT that Kevin owns.
Yeah.
And each one of those will be different in terms of the clothes it's wearing, the glasses, the tiara, the hat, the cap, whatever.
Yeah.
And the second part to that is that the artist Mark Pollybank, who created the original 82 characters, won't create those 100 NFTs. We will use generative AI. And we'll use a generative AI artist to create the 100 variants of each character.
Wow. And is there, I mean, where do you start? I mean, you've got a character that's as I've said, you've got a breakfast at Tiffany's, and you've got a black dress there.
Yeah.
When it comes to 100 variants, that's quite a lot, isn't it? I mean, it's not like, it's not like she's just going to change her necklace. It's going to be a lot of different variants, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I think it boils down to about half a dozen, about 6 different combinations of hats, 6 different combinations of glasses, 6 different combinations of tops, 6 different combinations of trousers or jeans.
Got you.
And that gives us, with those 6 variables, that gives us enough uniqueness to create 100 variants of that original NFT.
One of the problems
character.
with AI is that you see some of these pictures on the internet, and effectively they look like they've got 6 hands, six fingers. You know, I mean, we see that regularly in Newcastle, of course, because you know that's how they are up there, isn't it?
It's just Newcastle.
But yeah,
it's very useful when you're on a football field. You know, you get 20 feet.
But no, seriously, is all the kind of, I mean, the AI itself, is it shows you're clever enough to do this in the very, I know it seems an obvious answer. Yes, it is, but you know, is AI developed enough to produce the level of excellence that you would want in a replication, even though it's 100 replicants of one really important figure?
Yeah. So the AI itself, generative AI, will do a lot of what I would call the grunt work for us. Right. But we still have to have a digital artist make sure that the integrity of the character is upheld, because you know, I'm selling what I would consider to be a high value asset. I'm selling a product to people that is expensive. It sits in an asset class alongside other expensive assets, and you know, we can't get it wrong. So when we generate these AI generated variants, we have to ensure that the integrity of the original character is carried through all of those 100 different versions.
And was that your contract with the artists, the original artists? Did you foresee this as your business model?
It's all written into the original. It's all written into our contracts, which is
pretty smart of you, James, because at the end of the day, you've thought a few chess moves ahead, haven't you?
Well, I've got a 5-year roadmap for Pets Rock. I've got a very clear vision of where I want to take it. We've got a bus in Jersey that's been beautifully refurbished. It's going to be wrapped in Pets Rock branding, and it's going to go on tour across the UK and to inspire young people to get into art and technology, and to explore AI, and to explore generative art, and to explore crypto, to explore NFTs, and understand that world. Not to sell anything to anybody, but just to help create some positive impact around, you know, what we're doing in the art tech space. Yeah. We've also got strategically, my ultimate goal, Graham, as you might remember, is that I've got this vision of Pets Rock the movie. And Pets Rock the movie is a little bit like Sing, if you've ever seen Sing 1, 2 or 3. It's an incredible movie of animals behaving like humans. It's got an incredible music score from the 80s, 90s and noughties. It's got a hero, it's got a villain, it's got a love story, and that's where I want to see Pets Rock. I want to see it on the big screen in 5 years from now. If I achieve that, the value of your NFT, the value of your art will just, catapult. So there is a roadmap that I have created that takes me 5 years down the line.
I just can't wait to see this sort of the Pets Rock the movie. I mean, the thing is that the challenge that you'll have is which character is the main character. Right. Have you started to, I mean, that'd be a good dinner conversation. Or which would lead? I mean, would it be? I don't know, but you might have a detective in it. I mean, there is one with a sort of the one that looks a bit like Sherlock Holmes. But I mean, you've kind of got a detective, so it could be a movie with a twist, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be, and we've got a billboard poster we've already created that I'll share with you, Graham. But you're absolutely right. We're very early at the moment. We don't have a script ready. We don't have a playbook for the movie that we can take to producers or studios and start to talk about deals. We've had an option, which somebody asked us if they could take the option to the movie. We've sort of said not currently ready. So we're sort of very early in that, because I'm focused on the art side of the business at the moment. But underlying the sort of there's this sort of little underlying thread of when I talk to people about art, I also happen to mention the movie.
Well, if you're short of a Yorkshire sort of voiceover artist, then, well, you know where to turn.
I do indeed.
James, this has suddenly put a light bulb on in my mind.
Okay.
I can see the bus with the characters all over it. Suddenly, the characters are getting well known. The movie, the characters get really well known. So if you've got the NFT for one of the characters,
that's right.
Or you've got an income stream from everything there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking merchandising potential. You know? I'm thinking my grandson loves something on television. Paw Patrol.
Yeah, exactly.
Paw Patrol, the 5 or 6 dog characters that are in there have got some fantastic merchandising all over the place. Okay, probably not limited in the small numbers that you were talking about for the second.
Yeah, but Kevin, I don't know if your contract will cover your ability to have those merchandise throw-offs from the movie, or will they?
Yeah, so the complex part to that answer, Kevin, is ideally yes, but I don't own the IP in the collection. So the IP in the collection is still owned by the Pollybank husband and wife team, the artistic duo. If I were to acquire the entire IP rights to Pets Rock, then I would build into the smart contract of every NFT we sell that there is a royalty on every licensed merchandise product that is sold with Pets Rock on it, because that's where my investors, my collectors, my clients would get a really interesting return on their investment, as well as, you know, the growth in the asset itself. But I don't own the IP. So right now, Mark and Kate, the honest answer is I don't think Mark and Kate would want to give me that opportunity, because that's money out of their revenue stream from licensing the brand to people making merchandise.
It's an interesting dilemma, though, isn't it? Because effectively, if you're creating the movie without those downstream sales, and if they all accrued to the originators, it does seem a disparity, and there's got to be a wiggle room for you to come up with some sort of arrangement where you're sharing royalties in some way, because there is something there from an investment point of view, getting people into this, not just the 100 variants and all the other, what did you call it? Phygital. It's a word that we'll have to use again, Kevin, because
it's a brilliant word, isn't it?
It is. I think you made it up, James.
I'm just dying to see what Grammarly does with that when I check your show notes, Graham. It's just say about phygital.
Yeah, it's just not going to say it, is it? But having said that, the opportunity of creating something, you know, because you might not know, but I worked for Lego in the 1980s, and basically, you know, they now have Lego films, etc.
Incredible franchise,
and there's no reason for it to stop. You know, the films are always going to be part and parcel of what they're actually going to be doing with the brand, and you've got something. It's not necessarily the same thing, but you've got something with so many legs. 82 different characters, all of which have a backstory that many of us would know in a lot of the cases. But when you start pulling them all together in some sort of Agatha Christie type thing, or whatever it's going to be, the variations are just amazing. The
potential is huge, and what we're trying to do with, if we now differentiate between investors in Pets Rock as collectors of art, and investors in Superlux, the entity that is building the brand, growing the revenue stream, creating and developing and executing the strategy. We've got a couple of different options there. At the moment, we're asking investors for cash for equity to help us build and execute the strategy that I've developed.
Right.
But the bigger play is to ask investors for cash for a larger share of equity in Superlux to acquire the entire IP rights in Pets Rock, and then we're masters of our own destiny. We can do with it whatever we wish.
I see. I understand. I did notice on LinkedIn that you'd announced a new acquisition on your board. Can you just tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really pleased to have been able to acquire a tech business called Illusion. Illusion comes from the crypto space. They built their own what's called a decentralized exchange, which means it's an exchange where people can trade cryptocurrencies. It's kind of managed and policed and owned by the community. They built an NFT platform which sits very nicely with our vision of phase 3 of our 8,000 NFTs, which are the lower price point variants. And Illusion also developed their own meme coin called XR Doge, which is linked to Ripple. And that has 20,000 coin holders, which gives me that active community of potential customers for Pets Rock. So that's I think a strategic move that helps us to underpin a lot of what we're planning to do with Pets Rock in the next few years, with good technology, with a community, with our own meme coin that people can use to pay for their Pets Rocks when they're buying and selling.
Got you. It sounds a really exciting future, and I can understand the film will probably trail the discussions that you'll hopefully have with the extra investment and the acquisition of the IP rights, because it would seem remiss of you not to have those before you created the film.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Although when I talk about the film to certain parties, that people get very animated and excited about it. So I'm not quite sure in what order things will happen. No. But the plan is that the movie aspect, because that is a 2-3 year project in its own right, that will probably be much further down the line after we've got some traction with the brand as an art proposition.
So, I mean, it's difficult for you to say this, though, James, but I'll ask you anyway. But I've got 10,000 to spare, and the one that I really liked has gone. But such is life. What can I say? But let's just say that Her Majesty's still available. She isn't, but nonetheless, let's just see it. Yeah. So I want to buy that particular version.
Yeah.
Regardless of how that particular thing fits in films or whatever else, how much as an investor might I expect, say, or as a passion investment over, I don't know, let's just say 10 years, what am I likely to see back by the time I'm not even going to say it, 10 years time? It's scary. What about you, Kevin?
It's scary. Yeah,
it's got a 7 in front of the number. It is, but let's just say in 10 years time, what might that be worth?
Well, we're currently predicting around a 5 times return.
Right.
So we expect to deliver at least a 5 times return on the asset, but what we haven't quantified completely is that we know what we've got in terms of art to sell, physical art to sell. So that's easy. The NFT trading piece, if you own Mr. Orange and you've paid £10,000 for that, then what we don't know is of the 100 Mr. Orange variants that will trade our NFT platform as the third phase or as another phase, what we don't know is how much that character will trade. And therefore how much revenue potentially that will return to the original holder of that NFT.
This is going to vary character to character, isn't it? Depending.
I think you're right, Kevin. It will. There will be characters that are more popular, which is why I'm encouraging collectors to come in earlier, because they can say to me, well, okay, James, the 5 on Nina at the moment aren't the ones I want, but the ones I want are available. Can you put them on Nina and I'll buy them? And of course, I will do that at the current market price. So I'm encouraging collectors to come in early and buy the characters they want, because they get the price benefit now. But also they can buy the ones that they think are going to be the most popular, and therefore will have the greatest trading opportunity in the future.
Look, each area is, you just think your mind wanders. So if it's somebody in the sort of the art world or something like that, or a former model, for instance, how could that work? Would it be people in that particular industry? I mean, let's face it, you'd only really need, for the sake of argument, 100 people in a particular genre to buy in at a reasonable level, and you've got yourself a heck of a return.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And there are kind of collector clubs. There is the concept of fractional NFT ownership. So, for example, you could have five individuals come together and put £2,000 in, and they own collectively the NFT between the five of them. There are models like that we can or they can explore.
Yes.
And we think modestly 5 times is a realistic ROI to give collectors, based on the price now. As we move towards the end of the collection, I think the last 5 NFTs we sell will sell at probably 25k.
Yeah.
So hence why we're encouraging collectors to come in early, because by the time we sell out, you've already got a 100% gain.
Although I'd love to think that you're right, and I'd hate to sort of blow any to prick that bubble, but basically, wouldn't the last 5 or so be the least interesting of the 82?
I think it depends.
You go into the supermarket and the only fruit that's left is the stuff that you wouldn't touch with a barge pole. But I don't know if that's a factor here.
Well, I think that remains to be seen. I think that's what's really interesting about it, is that we'll develop this as we go, and we'll take the influence of the market into account, and that will shape the strategy. I do think, though, Graham, that whatever those last 5 are, they will still have a very, very good shot at delivering a good return on investment. And who knows, we might just say, well, that those 5 clients, or that one client who bought those 5, they deserve to have a little bit more presence in the movie, So
how clever.
I can see all sorts of risks sitting in here that may work really in your favor or could backfire on you completely. Now, supposing we got a star who there was suddenly a scandal about.
Yeah.
Would that person could be one of the actors who there've been all sorts of scandals about, and suddenly their series disappear off television and things like that? Would that make that particular NFT more desirable or less desirable? There are all sorts of interesting variables here.
It's very interesting, and actually, we have a golfer. He's called Golf, our character Golf, who is very, very instantly recognizable as a very famous and successful American golfer
with a duck.
And he, of course, has had his own scandals and his own career issues, let's say, but he was one of the first ones we sold, because the collector who bought him sees that there's a massive following out there of that particular individual.
Yeah, the other thing is, Mr. Orange, as you mentioned, his name is has been indicted 4 times. Probably going to be indicted again by the crazy American.
Between recording this and the program, the podcast actually coming out, there's plenty of time. At least 6 more indictments, Graham.
Well, yeah, I know, but all of them false. But having said that, the thing is that in the same time, popularity's gone through the roof. So I'm not 100% sure that'll work against Kevin, but you are right to point it out. But when you look at the characters themselves, a lot of them are dead.
Well, that's right. So quite a lot of them have passed this earth.
Yes.
And
the character upon which it may be based are no longer here. So, I mean, do you know roughly how many of the characters fall into that category?
I don't. I'd say probably it's about a 50-50 split. That's an interesting question, actually, that I shall do the analysis on.
Next time you get interviewed, get an answer to that question. But I think you're probably right. It is about 50-50, just as a quick look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting subject, Graham. This has opened up all sorts of thoughts in my mind. And I'd never really got the whole idea of an NFT and why it should be valuable, but it's starting to make sense.
Yeah.
And it's certainly an interesting area to explore.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
it's been fascinating talking to you, finding out about it.
Thank you very much, Graham. I do just have, before we finish, one piece of good news for you. I've just checked, actually, and out of the sold characters, which you can see here, Mr. Orange is available. He's not one of the sold 15.
Oh, well.
So you're in luck.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, we'll be talking again soon anyway. But I just want to put it out there that I'm very grateful to you, James Mathewson, for joining us today on the Next 100 Days podcast.
You're very welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. And Graham and Kevin, thank you so much for having me.
Well, Graham, that has certainly opened my eyes up to another alternative investment. And I know you deal with folk that are peddling their wares in the alternative investment world every day. But for me, that's brand new. I kind of knew what an NFT was, but it never, ever really crystallized in my mind why on earth I would be interested in buying one. And I suppose what I'm saying there is there's a lot of risk, because there are a load of variables as to where does the future go? Does the movie ever get made? Does the publicity on the bus ever get to see people? The third generation of products, are there going to be enough trades to do anything? But risk and reward are the two things that go together. So for high risk, 5 times reward possibly is something worth considering as part, of course, of a diversified portfolio.
Well, that's what alternative investments should be about, is diversifying a portfolio. And with I mean, let's face it, if something's going to return you 50 grand as out of your 10, then it's definitely worth thinking about. Now, as you rightly say, it might not be 50, might not, you might be left with something that's value less, sort of thing. So it's one of those things you have to sort of think through. But I think the way in which James has explained his plan, and the ways in which money can come back to the original buyers of these 82 individuals, as I've said, some of which have passed on, if you like, and some of which, like 45 and 47, are still there. So, at the end of the day, could there be a lot of interest in these specific characters? Well, I think there will be. I think they could be. Yeah, I mean, and it's.
I don't think it's one for me, and I think very, very interested in finding out about it. But for me personally, I've still got a bit of convincing to.
No, absolutely, and well, that's the beauty of alternative investments, is that not every single thing is for every single person. So it's one of those things that if you're gripped by it, by the art, by the NFT, by the opportunity, maybe the movie, as you said, then, well, you might see a different pathway to the growth of your money. So anyway, on that bombshell, Kevin, it's been another great podcast, this time with James Mathewson, and he's been talking about Pets Rock. Today, I've been Graham Arrowsmith.
I've been Kevin Appleby. Goodbye.
Goodbye.